A warm welcome to Diski Talk with Luyolo. If you're tuning in for the very first time, I do ask that you please subscribe and hit that notification bell. If you've been a part of this journey, I hope you thoroughly enjoy this episode. So, on today's episode, I discuss all things Mamelodi Sundowns as I have a feature-focused episode where we look at the transfers. So, on today's episode then, we focus on transfer talk, where then we have a look at Mamelodi Sundowns' new players. Mamelodi Sundowns have signed a couple of players, but on today's episode, the feature focus then becomes Junior Mendieta from Stellenbosch and Lesiba Nku from Marumo Gallants. So we will start then with Junior Mendieta. So when you have a look at Junior Mendieta, this is an Argentine, is right-footed, and at Stellenbosch, he did then play as a wide playmaker who started off the left. So you could also look at him as an inverted winger. So when you have a look at Junior Mendieta with regard then to his qualities, this is a player then who is very creative, creates big chances consistently, and he also has an eye for goal. As a result of that, he did finish with 8 goals and 8 assists in this past season within the league. So when you do have a look at Junior Mendieta, this is a player then who has high efficiency within the final third and is a player then with that creativity. Off the ball then, he has a very good work rate with regards to how he looks to press. He is very aggressive, and also then when it comes to his ball recoveries. And also when you consider the fact that this is a player then who did form part and parcel of Esteli's side, which was very good in pressing, which is what Mamelodi Sundowns do without the ball. So when you have a look at his time then at Esteli's, like I did mention, he would start off this left wide channel where then he would be looking to cut in and looking then to play make for this Esteli side as he was their playmaker. Break into the box where then he is looking then to score those goals. So very efficient when it comes then to scoring goals, assisting and creating big chances consistently. But the question then becomes then, how does he fit in at Mamelodi Sundowns? Especially considering then that at Sundowns, they have been playing with a 4-4-2 diamond, whereas at Stelli's, he was very key and important then with regards to offering width and starting in a wider area on the left-hand side for Stelli's, whereas with this Mamelodi Sundowns side then, they play with minimum to relative width in relation to the opposition and the positioning of their teammates. So what you would see then from this Mamelodi Sundowns side is that they have this complete left side bias. Whenever then the ball would be on the left side, where they'd institute a left-sided tilt, you'd see the same thing on the right-hand side. So when you have a look at Junior Mendieta, where does he fit in? So when you have a look at this Mamelodi Sundowns system, because then they do play with the 4-4-2 diamond, I do think that he could play in either one of the positions up top, or he could then play as a 10. However, when you consider the fact that Themba Zwane plays as a 10, you've got Peter Shalile, you've got Mailula, you also have Murena, who was starting a lot of the games towards the end of the season. These are players then who in these positions are ahead of him and are better than them. So when you have a look at the 4-4-2 diamond then, I do see him more as a player then who would be a backup player and who would offer impact off the bench, as opposed to him walking into the starting lineup because of the quality they have. However, another thing then to look at is that Mamelodi Sundowns could look to change the shape. So if they do change the shape and go to a 4-3-3, this then would be better suited because, like I did mention, Mendieta is better suited starting off the left-hand side and then looking to drift in as a wide playmaker. So it does pose the question with regards to Mendieta joining Sundowns. Is it Sundowns that will then change the system going forward? Because they also have signed Lesiba Nku, who is also then a player who offers a lot of width, who is left-footed, who normally plays as an inverted winger off the right-hand side, but he can also play off the left-hand side. So they've signed these players then who offer a lot of width, but they then play with a system that doesn't play with much width. So it does then become interesting, or will then these players then be adapted into how Mamelodi Sundowns would like to play, especially considering then that it is a diamond. So with Mendieta then maybe looking to play as a 10 or looking then to play as one of the two positions. And then the next player then is Lesiba Nku. So when you have a look at Lesiba Nku, then he is left-footed, very skillful, very quick, and a creative player as well. He does play mostly off the right-hand side as an inverted winger, so he'd be looking to play off there, looking then to come in, very good in 1v1 situations. So he is more adept with regards to offering the width, and he does occupy much wider pockets of space than a Mendieta would. So he does like to start really wide and offer that maximum width in relation to the pitch and the opposition as well. Loves then to isolate his man 1v1. But like I did mention, this Mamelodi Sundowns side then play with a very narrow system. So because he is left-footed and he's got very good technical ability, it does then make it very interesting to see where could he fit in. Another thing then, my opinion, that I think could potentially happen within this diamond is that because he has good technical ability, very comfortable on the ball, and has very good game intelligence, he could then be converted and to compete then with Modiba. So with Aubrey Modiba, we do know that he does play as an inverted fullback where he does look to come in. Maybe we could see the same positional switch for Lesiba Nku, especially considering then that he is very good with regards to how then he looks to manipulate the ball within tight areas, even when he is in deep pockets of space. However, that's just a suggestion. I don't really see it happening, especially considering his profile, but I wouldn't be surprised, especially considering then that the genius that Coach Rulani is and how then players improve drastically whenever then they do go to Mamelodi Sundowns. But like I did mention earlier on, maybe then they could go to a 3, and maybe then they could play with more natural wingers, players then who offer much more width as an alternative then to the 4-4-2 diamond, especially when it comes then to breaking down opposition, because with certain opposition, width is needed. You know, yes, Mamelodi Sundowns do dominate the league, and they did dominate the league playing with a very narrow system. But when it then comes to continental duties, that could be an alternative. Even in the league as well, it could be an alternative to have players then who are able to offer that maximum width and who are able to exploit the wider areas as opposed to that. So it does make it very interesting then with regards to how then these two would fit into Mamelodi Sundowns, especially considering then that these are players who offer a lot of width. With Nku, he offers maximum width. With Mendieta, it does start within the wide left area and does look to drift in. And they walk into a side then which plays with a very narrow system. So it does remain very interesting to see how then will they adapt within the system and how then Coach Rulani would be looking to use them. When I look at the two signings then, and my opinion with regards to rating them and in comparison to the rest of the players, I don't think that they are players then who walk into the starting lineup, because the players within the starting lineup do have much more quality also in relation to the system and how Mamelodi Sundowns have been playing. However, like I did mention, players can always improve, and the system can always be tweaked, and they could be changes then within the new season. So the pair of them are very good players, I think, respectively. However, when you look at the quality that Mamelodi Sundowns have and how Mamelodi Sundowns play, if they are continue to play within the diamond, then I do think that they could be players then who are more for impact as opposed to starting options. However, at home, do let me know, what do you make of these two new signings for this Mamelodi Sundowns side, where then they have signed Junior Mendieta from Stellenbosch and Lesiba Nku from Marumo Gallants. So that was then another episode of Disky Talk with Liolo. If you did enjoy that one, please do subscribe, hit the notification bell, like, comment, and share with your friends as well. Thank you very much for tuning in to yet another special episode of Disky Talk with Liolo. Signing out.